My grandma was a woman woven from starlight and stubbornness. Growing up in her little cottage, tucked away in the countryside, felt like living inside a storybook. And the best stories were always the ones she lived, not just told. One evening, a story began that our family would tell for generations, the night Grandma caught the moon. It started with a mischievous twinkle in her eye. A full, milky white moon was climbing the sky, so bright it painted silver stripes across the wooden floor. That old moon, she'd say, looks lonely up there, and a little too pleased with itself. If you ask me, that night, she declared, I'm going to bring it down for a visit. We all laughed. Of course, my father, ever the practical one, just shook his head and smiled. Mom, you and your imagination. But Grandma wasn't joking. The next day, she was up at dawn. Humming a tune as she gathered her supplies, she retrieved the longest, sturdiest rope from the barn, the one used for hoisting hay bales. She pulled out her largest, shiniest silver platter, the one reserved for Christmas dinner, and finally she grabbed the biggest fishing net we owned, its mesh fine and strong, her plan. As she explained it with the utmost seriousness, was simple, the moon, being rather vain, would be drawn to its own reflection. She would lure it closer with the silver platter, and just as it dipped low enough to admire itself, she'd cast her net and snag it. It's all about timing and a little bit of charm, she winked. That evening, as twilight bled into a deep, velvety blue, she set up her operation on Miller's Hill, the highest point overlooking our valley. We followed her, a small procession of curious grandchildren and amused adults, carrying lanterns that cast dancing shadows. She placed the silver platter on a flat rock, angling it just so. It gleamed, a perfect, miniature pond of liquid light. Then she stood ready, net in hand, rope coiled at her feet. We waited. The crickets chirped their nightly symphony. An owl hooted from a distant oak. The moon, oblivious to its impending capture, continued its majestic ascent. It was enormous and breathtaking, bathing the entire landscape in an ethereal glow. For a moment, we all just stared, mesmerized. Then a cloud, thin and wispy like a stray piece of cotton, drifted in front of the moon. Its light softened, diffused, and in that moment, something magical happened. The light caught the low-hanging fog that had settled in the valley, and a perfect, luminous circle of light appeared, hovering just above the trees, right over the river bend. It wasn't the real moon, but a breathtaking reflection, a moon dog as the old-timers called it. It was shimmering, ethereal, and looked close enough to touch. There it is, Grandma whispered, her eyes wide with triumph. Before anyone could explain the trick of the light, she swung her net with a strength that belied her years. It soared through the air in a graceful arc, right towards the phantom moon. For a split second, as the net enveloped the glowing orb of fog, it looked like she had actually done it. It looked like she had caught the moon. The illusion shattered a moment later, as the net passed through the light and landed softly on the dewy grass. The moon dog flickered and vanished as the cloud passed, a collective, gentle laugh rippled through our little group, but Grandma wasn't disappointed. She turned to us, her face glowing, not from the moon, but from pure, unadulterated joy. Well, it seems he was a bit too slippery for me tonight, she announced, pulling in her empty net. But did you see him? He came down to say hello, walking home that night. I didn't feel like we had failed. I felt like I had witnessed a miracle. Grandma hadn't caught the moon, not the real one. She had caught something far more precious, a moment of pure magic, a memory that would shine brighter and last longer than any celestial body. She taught us that the greatest adventures aren't about achieving the impossible, but about having the courage and the imagination to try. And every time I look up at a full moon, I smile, and I can almost hear her whisper, "Maybe next time." Thanks so much for joining me for this story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more tales from the heart. See you next time.